Mary. Yesterday a little incident happened, thought to pass it on. We were out for a little drive out in the country. We'll call her Lucy, you know what I'm talking about. We were out for a drive in the country, and on the way back, decided to stop and get something to eat at a little place. First place we came across was a fast food restaurant, so we went on in. I won't say the name of it. So we walked in and got behind. Looked to be a mother and two daughters, young teenager and older teenager. The oddest thing is, while I was standing there, they were laughing and joking and cutting up and kind of being distractive, actually. And I had trouble focusing on them. Like, I'd look at them and my eyes would kind of slide around them or something. It was very curious. And the young lady, the youngest of the girls, was the only one that ordered, and it was just one item. And when she received it, I had never seen that item before. I didn't even know what it was. Some kind of little pastry-looking thing. And I had trouble focusing even more on that, whatever that was that she had ordered that was not on the menu. You can go around the country, around the world, and you won't find this item on their menu, whatever it was. That all seemed very strange. And then all of a sudden, they were gone. They didn't walk out the door, you know, they were just gone. And everybody in the restaurant got quiet, even sullen. All you could hear was the blast of the television, you know how they are these days. So we went ahead and had a little something to eat and got back out in the car and drove off. And we both commented on the building next door. This was a new development in there, and the building next door was new, and it was vacant. It was empty. It looked like something had been in there before, but it was gone. And the building, the only thing we could say about it was it didn't look right. You know, it didn't feel right, and that's as far as we could get with it. So we talked about a few possibilities about what happened in there. Can't possibly come to a conclusion. You know, I'm sure some people already got some things rolling around the head. But don't know. It reminded me of a bit more of a dramatic incident that occurred as a young boy, 14 years old. My dad liked to go hunting. He enjoyed killing rabbits. Didn't seem like his week was complete unless he killed a rabbit or a fish or something. As a 14-year-old boy, I wanted to do it with him, and he wanted me to go and all that. There was about 3 truckloads of men and dogs, you know. I mean, this was serious rabbit hunting. When we pulled up out in a pasture someplace and walked across the pasture maybe 100 yards and got on into the woods. As we were walking in the woods, I guess we'd gotten in maybe 50 feet, something like that. I looked over to my right, and there was a mound of earth that had come up. It was grassy and leaves covered it and all that, and had this urge to sit down on that little mound, which I did. Found myself watching the hunting party go by, and as they moved on by, they slowed down. And for 3, 4, or 5 seconds, something like that, they got slower and slower and slower and slower, and then they were gone. They weren't there anymore. This was pretty strange. I didn't know what to think about it. You know, was this what they call a UFO abduction? Is that what happened? Or was I taken to, you know, the fairy realm beneath the hills? I have no idea. Was it something entirely different? Could be. I decided to go back to the truck and wait for them there. It's the only thing I could think of. So I headed back, and just as I was getting out of the woods and into the pasture, I had seen where a little tree had fallen over. It looked like it was pushed over sometime in the past. And there was a clump of leaves at the edge of this little tree, not much more than a sapling. And I couldn't see what was inside that clump, but I knew there was a rabbit there. So I raised, you know, we were hunting, we were supposed to shoot rabbits, so I raised my shotgun, little double barrel, 16 gauge, and took a step toward the tree, and sure enough, that little rabbit zipped on out. And I raised my gun to my shoulder and pulled the trigger and missed it a mile, which I'm glad I did. But I was a pretty good shot, and it surprised me that I missed it. But it took on off, and I went on out to the pasture and was heading toward the trucks, and looked up in the sky, and there was a buzzard just about right above me. Now, buzzards are commonplace. I had never even considered shooting a buzzard before, but I wanted to kill that buzzard. I mean, I really wanted to kill that buzzard. So I raised my gun, shot at it, and there's no way I could have missed it. No way. It wasn't that high. In fact, it was pretty low over me. And this is what it did. When I fired the gun, its wing, the tip of its wing, did that. Now, if you know anything about bird anatomy, you know that a bird can't do that at the tip of its wing. It doesn't happen. Again, it's very strange, didn't know what to make of it. Then I got back to the truck and waited for them, and the men came, and Father was all angry, and I'd ruined the hunt and all that kind of thing. But shortly after that, I did stop hunting. I just couldn't do it anymore. But those were two incidences that something happened, and I don't know what happened perceptually. What I was seeing with my eyes was not what was actually taking place. Something else was there. All of life is just that way. All of life is just that way. So it's a mistake to take anything for granted. Now, you can take things at face value when you need to, like when it's, you know, rock hard solid reality, like, you know, if I don't move, you know, I'm going to get hit on the head, something like that. But for the most part, from the greater picture, what we see with our eyes and what we understand with the mind, that's not it. There's always something else there. So keep parting the veils. Don't take anything for granted. Look behind what is there. And eventually, a place will become to where the truth is the consciousness itself. Can't really describe it beyond that. And it will come in personal ways. In this journey of constantly pushing back the veils seeing what's behind, that kind of thing. It's easy to get into fault finding and that kind of thing. Just seeing fault wherever you go. And I learned the hard way that the way is to give. If you're going to penetrate, the way ahead is to give. And instead of fault finding fault, the way ahead is to forgive. Okay? Strange universe. For the ego, anyway. But to the mind liberated, it's all, it's a curious and wonderful place. It's very interesting. And it can be worrisome, if we let it. So,